Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Jasbir Singh, Assistant Professor in Department of Computer Science and IT, University of Jammu. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce Dr. K. Hemant Kumar Reddy, resource person for this afternoon session. And we are fortunate enough that he has joined along with Dr. Diptendu Sinha Roy from NIT Meghalaya. Just a brief introduction of Dr. Hemant Kumar Reddy. He is working as associate professor in computer science and engineering in National Institute of Science and Technology, Berhampur, Odisha. He is PhD in computer science from Berhampur University, Odisha. He has 17 years of work experience. He has published many research papers, book chapters in international journals. He has supervised many PhD as well as MTech students. He is a reviewer of IEEE IoT Journal, Elsevier, Springer, IGP Global Journals. He is a Wipro certified trainer as well. He is also National Institute of Science and Technology, CSI, chapter coordinator of his institute. Welcome, sir, and we are looking forward to hear from you. Thank you, sir. It's over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll just because last day the class I took the other day, so the lecture that Dr. Reddy will be continuing is actually a continuation of what I discussed. So I'll just have a 2-minute briefing on the connection between the two, and then Dr. Reddy can take over.
Fine, sir.
Because for my health issues, Dr. Reddy had helped me, and I had told the other day that I'll return the favor. So it's a 2-minute return of the favor. In the previous lecture, I mean, if you recall, we had come across a few new terms. One was the cross-vertical IoT applications, what they meant. So a number of IoT applications coming together for forming more complicated, more sophisticated applications, how they can be modeled, particular network scenario, network architecture scenario was described in details. So what was context migration, context sharing, these topics Dr. Reddy touched upon. So now once we have a basic background of such a cross-vertical IoT application scenario, it is very easy as a simple logical extension to extend this idea to take it to a smart city. Okay, a smart city is basically, informally speaking, it can be simplified as a conglomeration of many such IoT applications. So they formally define it as ICT technologies based services provision. I mean, services are being provided to users mostly through ICT. So there are physical aspects to it, there are cyber aspects to it, and a key concern comes into picture is the security, the cyber security of these IoT applications which can talk to each other, and how user privacies and all these issues can be handled. So we will not be touching on those ideas, but as a natural extension, what comes to an academic mind, academic researcher, is that once we have such a scenario, can't we optimize the time taken? Okay, so we had, so one extension that we did immediately, which was again published in the IEEE Internet of Things journal, was how we can minimize the latency, service latencies. Okay, so service time. So how to minimize that service time? That of course, Dr. Reddy will not go into details, but if possible, I'll request him to take it first. I just give an extension because based on the our last discussion, conclusion, we can just show them how the same network extended for minimizing the service time. That is one research problem. Another research problem, which is the topic of today, is once we have such a scenario, can we, because we have put up a lot of complications at the fog level. Okay, we have put the context awareness, we have put migration, context migration at the fog level. So once that is done, so naturally we have to understand that at the fog level we have some virtualization. The instances are pooled together. Okay, with the virtualization technologies, from that pool they are being extracted. So can we do some amount of energy optimization? So that is the topic today, which Dr. Reddy will continue now. Okay, so basically two problems. Just try to give a very, very brief introduction to the service delay minimization problem, and then you focus on the energy minimization problem and that duty cycling. So that he will explain. That's it. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sir, first, this one session may not permit me to go through the entire two works details. So, as per your request, the first paper extension I will discuss very quickly. Then I will move to today's topic, what we have planned today. So, just a minute. Let me share the screen first. As Dr. Diptendra Sinha has explained that in continuation of first paper, what you have discussed on first, so you have published another paper to minimize further minimization of latency, right? So we'll discuss that one very quickly. Just abstract, I will say what are the changes you have done, what is the improvements you have done in that paper. Then quickly we'll move to the today's topic one. So I hope my screen is visible to all.
Yes, sir.
So this is the extension paper of the first one, the service delay minimization scheme for QoS constant contest-aware unified IoT applications. So here I will not discuss the details of each and every slide. So because this is a extension of the first one, so the additional improvement only will discuss whatever the improvement you have done in that. So that part I will discuss quickly. Then I will switch to the today's topic one, the energy efficient one, right? So this is the paper. Then the problem statement is same. Just what you have done in additional that you are going to discuss, right? Now, the same network model you are using. Here is the improvement, what you have done here. The fog nodes can process certain number of applications, and at a time, only one fog node can process one service request only, right? This was what the limitation of the first one, right? Then you thought of why each and every computing elements can be virtualized, then why not the fog node can be virtualized, right? So after reviewing a few referred journal papers, right, we come to a conclusion that the fog node can be, we can virtualize the fog nodes, and these VMs can, this set of VMs can handle simultaneously set of service requests. So virtualized multi-channel fog node architecture introduced to process the multiple service requests of different type at a time. So our objective is to how to decrease the service time or service completion time, right, by increasing the number of service requests in a particular fog node, right? So this is what our improvements. Along with that, you have changed the algorithm, because for virtualized, that was the previous algorithm, whatever you have proposed, that SCS smart model, right, smart contest model, and we have modified that one in order to fit the virtualized environment, right? And the multi-queuing channel model incorporated in order to serve the multiple requests at a time. Then fog nodes VM storage capacity is not enough, as you have discussed, to hold the number of contest instance for all the required application at a time. In the last session also, I have clearly mentioned that all required contest instances you cannot keep of all applications in the same fog nodes, right? Only few contest instances of few applications can be stored in that fog node because of its limited storage. So an efficient contest sharing within the virtualized node. This is what you have introduced. Last time you have used that contest sharing among the fog nodes, but here the contest sharing among the virtualized nodes also, and virtualized fog nodes. And migrate approach is used to select the contest instances. Those need to migrate the nearby fog nodes for processing. This part is the same as just only you have added this one. In smart multi-queuing channel model, all service requests are queued in a service request queue, and the selection service request is based on the priority. So last time I introduced that the all service requests are categorized into 3 types, right? Delay sensitive, highly delay sensitive, moderate, and low. So if this delay sensitive is it's calculated, I mean categorized based on the delay that the application can sustain. A smart request scheduler is incorporated to schedule the incoming request to virtual nodes depending upon the application and the number of context instances. So if the number of these are exactly contributions, and all these contributions are aligned to the algorithms. So if different parts sections are there, so I will go by section what we have done exactly. If the number of context instances required for processing a particular application is not available at a virtual node, then it can collect the required context instances from other virtual nodes within the fog node. This work deals with the, presented in the section 1 of first algorithm, that is service management algorithm. If the number of context instances required for processing a particular application is not available within the fog node, right? The previous one is within the virtual machine, and here within the fog node. If it is not there, then that part is there. What to do? Definitely it's a context sharing, last time what we have discussed. So that is the section 2 of the same algorithm 1, that is service management. Right. If computation and service delay can be tolerated for a service request, but required context instances are not available, and sufficient buffer size is also not available for context sharing. If sufficient buffer size is not available for sharing, then the existing context instances are migrated to the other fog node, and the selection of these fog nodes is based on the minimum service delay, which relies on the different parameters like nearby, less load, and network traffic. That deals, this particular operation deals, you have presented in the second algorithm, that is context migration algorithm. Then finally, if the computation is not available, means the computation itself means the virtual nodes are not free at all. But if you request a critical applications, this critical IoT application, then what to do? If computation is not available or service delay cannot be tolerated, right, for different reasons, then the service request with application is migrated to other fog node. Simply you can migrate the application to other fog node for executing, for serving there. So that is there in the service migration algorithm, that is algorithm 3. To justify the efficacy of our model, a greedy approach and the previous work, that is SCS, are considered to compare with this one, right? This is same network, so I'm not going through that one. We have discussed this one. Yeah. So the system architecture you have depicted in details, layered architecture. The first layer is the fog node. The detail of fog node virtualization we'll discuss. The second layer is the context layer, the domain applications that fog node virtual machine can handle. And the third one is context engine layer, where details of context instances are there sharing within the fog node of VMs. Then fourth one is the context migration unit, right? So these pictures will give a clear picture to you. These are the 2 fog nodes. This is a fog layer. The bottom one is the fog layer. And each and every fog node, right, you have a number of VMs are there, because you said, as we said, you have virtualized the node, entire fog node. So number of VMs are there. So and on the second one is domain layer. As I said, each fog node can handle a certain number of applications. Those are called as domains, like D1, D2, D something. Then on top of that, there is something called as context engine. Now these are the context engines, right? Now here you can say this is one context engine, that 1A, another context engine, 1B. But these 2 are inside one fog node. So they can exchange their context instances. This is what you call as context sharing within the fog node. Now, if some context instances are not available inside a fog node, then inside a fog node, but it's required, then the context sharing mechanism helps you to access or get the context instance from the different fog nodes. Now here you can see this is context sharing among the different fog nodes. So among different fog nodes. So this is one fog node, that is fog node 1 and fog node 2. So in case of context sharing, right, these contests are sharing among the fog nodes, and there is, if required, then there will be service migrations. The entire thing handled by the context management unit. So this is what the context-aware IoT architecture. Now we are going to discuss about this smart multi-channel queuing model with virtualized fog node. Now this is what the fog node architecture, last class you have discussed that one, this particular left-hand side, right? But here the one fog node is virtualized into number of virtual machines. The right-hand side part gives the extension of that virtualized environment. Now here you can see that in virtualized environment, there are number of fog nodes are there. There is a smart request queue scheduler. Now what is the use of this smart request queue scheduler? It simply receives the inputs or service request from a queue, that is input service request queue, right? And from this input service request queue, it prioritizes the service request, and based on the criticality of the request, it schedules fast. Now this is a VM1, the context buffer type 1, then VM2 buffer type 2. Like this way, the entire buffer size is again divided into these virtual machines, and each virtual machine can have a certain number of context instances. Then, so yeah, this is what the new solution approach here. In this particular work, you have tried to focus the minimization of service delay of the aforesaid model without increasing the network or the fog node capability. So what we have done that you have increased the network capability nor you have increased the number of fog nodes, right? So seamless integration of multiple IoT applications that handles with a CBA, that is cross vertical applications, to handle as I said last class. Once you have processed all the service requests, then that data will simply push to the cloud. Unavailability of type of contest, you have a contest migration algorithm, that's contest sharing within the VMs, and critical IoT applications with minimum service delay that can be handled with the service migration, contest migration as well as the service migration. So what you have done here exactly, right? The entire fog node environment you have virtualized, so that at a time you can serve the multiple number of service requests, right? So this is a modified algorithm. Just the time will not permit me to go through the entire algorithm of this one and whatever the schedule one. So just I am skipping that one. This is what the contest migration one, right? And simulation, all the simulation setup, everything you have the same. So just I'm skipping this and switching to the today's what you have planned, that one. So energetic. Now why I discuss this particular extension paper, because this model is implemented. I mean the third model what you have implemented is based on the second one, means the virtualized environment. So that is the reason why I introduced this one. Let me switch to the today's topic. Wait. Yeah. So today's topic is energy optimization for IoT-enabled smart city applications, right? So the background and the details about the network architecture, everything you have discussed in the last session as well as this session. I introduced a little bit the second improved version of that one. So let me go to this one. The smart city, what exactly the smart city is? It's an integration of number of solo IoT applications, right? Where all these applications are collaborated, right? collaboratively work to simplify a complicated solution. This is what. But the objective is to optimize that, optimize the resources and optimize the energy consumption. This is what the objective of this session. Right. Now, the problems are like this: with the real-time service providing, or handling delay-sensitive application is a challenging task in today's rapidly growing IoT environment. Right. The second one is serving complicated application in real time is also an important and challenging task in the smart city. Right. Then smart city resources, effective use of or effective utilization of with QoS is a key issue. Means you have to use your resources, you utilize your resources in an effective way, right, with maintaining the quality of service. If you, in the name of utilizing the resources in an effective way, you cannot degrade the quality of service, or you cannot violate the service level agreement, right? So you have to take care of both the things. One, the service utilizations, the effective way of resource utilization, as well as the QoS constant, right? Then smart infrastructures is a sustainability is a big question. That is energy saving at any level of smart cities. IoT infrastructure is of paramount research importance. As I said, the three major things are there. You have to provide the complex solutions or complex solution in a simpler way to the user. Second, you have to effectively utilize the resources with QoS. And third one is you have to minimize the energy consumption of these resources also. So this is what the problem statement we have taken, and try to give a solution to that one. So these are the key solutions to this one. When you talk about this vertical or standalone IoT application cannot provide a complete solution to today's real-time IoT applications, the solution is the design of cross-vertical applications that you have discussed in the first sessions. When you talk about this centralized cloud architecture, which does not satisfy the real-time service request within due to its latency, then you have introduced or you have employed a fog node at the edge of the network architecture, which can be alternative but not sufficient. As I said, the employing or introducing a fog node at the edge of the network architecture is an alternative, right? It's an alternative but not sufficient. Means only the fog node cannot handle the entire things, right? So with that, whatever you require sophisticated management, sophisticated node management, service management algorithms. It has been observed that the use of context-aware computing at fog layer is effective in managing the data streams from numerous IoT applications. So here I have taken few selective references, right, to identify the particular selective contributions. So this I kept as a reference one. Then the computational and the storage resources at fog node are meant for offloading tasks from cloud layer in order to improve the service response time. So that we have taken from the reference 2. And the third one is the key issue is the smart infrastructure is sustainability and energy consumption, as you're saying. So for that, energy saving at any layer for smart cities, right, is an issue. And for that, what you have done, to understand this particular point, right, you have gone through a particular paper or a reference where a rich body of literature addresses the energy saving mechanism at the device or sensor layer. Device level or sensor level. Now, this particular reference indicates that you can minimize the energy consumption at sensor layer as well as the other device layer also. So in IoT environment, Duty cycling mechanism also plays an important role in minimizing the energy consumption at device level as well as the network level. Now, this is what the contribution is. We try to minimize the energy consumptions, right, using a duty cycling mechanisms, right. Now, duty cycling time slot is one of the most important factor in deciding the factors like energy consumption and QS, right? So, duty cycling is a approach which is normally used in sensors and other mainly till date they mainly used in sensors, right, to save the energy or save the energy consumptions. So that same concept can be used at fog layer, right, to minimize the energy, but you have to take care of the quality of service also. However, due to the ability of learning from wrong decisions, the RL approach can alter its duty duty cycle under the various conditions devoted as assumption of this application's prior demand. Now, let me explain these points here. We thought means we come up with a solution that duty cycling approach can be used in the fog layer, right? But if simply going the duty cycling will not solve the problems, right? So what do you need? That you need to maintain the quality of service also, right? So duty cycling with quality of QoS maintained, and duty cycling as there is a time period for duty cycling, right? I can explain this duty cycling concept with this industry, the industry jobs. Like in the core industry, I mean, all the employees there have their cycles, right? Shift 1, shift 2, shift 3, like this way, right? So out of 24 hours, they will work for 8 hours, right? Slot A, then slot B and slot C is for empty, right? So next week there may be they will work for slot B, and slot A and slot C may be idle time. Means means it's idle time. Similarly, next week slot C is working time, and rest of A and B are the idle time, right? But here, how to decide that time period, right? It's a very critical one. You cannot decide of some amount of time, that is some nanoseconds or picoseconds or some seconds, right? So that you need to optimize. So what you have done in this case, you have used a duty cycling approach, right, to minimize energy consumption while maintaining the QoS, and to optimize that time period, how much time we will keep for active and how much time we will keep for inactive, that is optimized using a RL approach. That's reinforcement learning approach, right? So the objective is to manage the number of services keeping their QoS, right? The second one is to minimize the energy consumption at fog layer and to maximize the utilization of resources and contest-aware cross-vertical applications, and to minimize the overall service delay for critical delay-sensitive cross-vertical IoT application. Our prime focus is only the delays, critically delay-sensitive applications, where the certain applications are there where those applications cannot sustain a delay, any delay, right? So how you have implemented that one? How you have, what is your approach to follow to build this model? An energy consumption model for fog layer, right? The fog layer, virtual machines management model that enact the optimal resource provisioning for smart city services, an optimized VM management approach for resource minimization and meeting the QoS constant, that is a optimization algorithm. That here you have used a genetic algorithm. So GA-based VM management model, that exactly, right? In this paper, GA has been employed to enumerate the optimal schedules, and RL, as I said, RL is used to optimize the duty cycling time period. These are our contributions, right? Proposing a multi-parameterized energy optimization model for the fog layer, optimized VM management approach using a GA, then employs a reinforcement learning algorithms that helps helps to arrive at optimal duty cycling period. Right. So this is what the smart city scenario with conceptual layer of ICT infrastructures. Now you can see there are 3 layers are there, right? 3 layers up are there. The first layer is sensor / device layers. The second one is edge or fog layer, and the third one is cloud analytic layer, right? In the first layer, all these sensors are deployed, right? These sensors, right, at regular interval of times generate the information, and those informations are fetched through the edge gateways, right? These edge gateways fetch through this one, and those are maintained in the fog computing fog nodes, right? And after the processing of these delay critical applications, right, those informations again pushed to the cloud for any type of analytics or other applications or delay tolerant applications. And this is just now I discussed about that. The same, the fog layer architecture you have used in this model also, right? And this is what the components of fog node at fog layer of smart city. And here what you have done, what you have changed is this one. So there are different components are there. Let me explain one by one. The TCAM is the buffer, right? The entire buffer, I mean, the buffer or the memory for this fog node. Then the control unit, which controls all the components. Then there is something called a VM controller, right? VM controller, which controls the, which handles the virtual machine scheduling part, right? So that is with the help of GA optimizer, right? Now, and initially the bottom component, bottom layer says that bottom component, that is a computing unit, the entire resource, computational resource are virtualized, and we created number of virtual machines, and these virtual machines are the information is given to the control unit. The control unit provide this information to the VM controller, and with the help of GA optimizer, right, it will schedule the incoming service request to the virtual machines. Now, the SCS model, as you have said that SCS model with load balancer, right? In the previous in the first case or first model, what you have proposed, there you have used a smart context sharing model. With that, the second what you have used a load balancer, right? Load balancer. Those two, I mean, those two approaches you are using with the GA optimizer. Then the overview of virtual management at fog layer means how you are managing this one. In energy consumption model, the energy consumption at fog node, the energy consumption is based on the 4 parameters. One, the energy consumption during the data transmission time, data receipt, and during the computation, and during idle time. If you refer any good journal papers, right, regarding the energy efficient at cloud level or fog levels, the energy of the node or energy of the server or energy of the system is calculated in the two, I mean, within 2 parameters. One, the active time means working, and if the system is active mode, and if the system is idle or sleep mode. So in sleep mode also, some amount of energy is also consumed, right? Then there are a set of parameters are there to calculate the energy consumption in the active mode, right? Like what is the load, right? Then how many virtual nodes are there in that? What is the amount of load is there, right? Depends upon all this, right? So in the proposed, let me discuss this entire architecture and proposed model. In the proposed network model, we consider the N is the number of fog nodes, and Fi indicates a single fog node, and each fog node has M number of virtual machines with virtual machines, and Cmax is the buffer capacity of each fog node, right? All these fog nodes are deployed randomly in order to collect data and generate the number of IoT devices. But all these fog nodes are randomly generated. Every time when you simulate, these placement of these fog nodes are random every time. Not only the fog node placements, as well as the other parameters like n is number of fog nodes is also random, but that is somehow we are trying to control it. And the second one is your m, the number of virtual meshes is also random within the range. So this is the entire model or framework, how it works. So let me discuss this one step by step. So this is these are the few static steps, right? That at certain interval of time, period t. So as I said, this entire model is executed or run for a certain interval of time. Means for a period of 10 minutes or 20 minutes, right? While you schedule this program or while you schedule this model, right? We give a schedule time, 10 minutes or 5 minutes or 7 minutes. So for a complete 10 minutes, right? The entire model will work, right? If the incoming request within the 10 minutes, right, unable to serve within the 10 minutes, right, then the entire framework will extend to another 1 or 2 minutes, right? That is in simulated way, right? Then at each fog node, prepare a neighbor list. So as usual, each fog node will collect a neighbor informations. Then at each time interval t, which is greater, t means the entire schedule time. Capital T is the entire schedule time, and small t is the time period for each service request to schedule each service request. Small t. So that's why capital T is always greater than the t. Then collect the service request SR from the service users, right? Once it has been collected, then if service SRI, service request, and delay is intolerable, is that service request delay is intolerable, means it cannot tolerate any delay? Yes, then move this side, right? Now what do you have to do? You have to check that if the service request required context, number of context instances are available, yes. If the request is a critical one and the required context instance also available, right, then schedule immediately, right? Immediately you have to schedule it, right? So you are not trying to optimize for the delay sensitive applications, right? Let me clear this point once again. You are not trying to optimize the delay sensitive applications. You are not applying any optimization for that one, because while you optimize, right, the optimized process will take a long time too. I mean, it will take a little bit time to optimize the schedule. Then you schedule them for schedule to VMs, right? So these are highly critical service requests. So you cannot inquire any delay for those. If the required context instances are not available, then we'll move downside. No. Then here, if the SR delay is greater than the predicted delay. So what you are doing there, whatever the delay it can sustain, right? We are trying to predict it. How much time required to get the context instances from the other fog nodes, right? Means that the context sharing and the context migration, right? Sometimes it may be only context sharing, sometimes context migration plus context sharing, right? Last session I have explained that if the free space is there, then no migration is required. Simply you bring the context instance from the other fog node. If free space is not there, then you have to vacate these. So it's up to you, the situation. Either you delete the context instances which are not required for the timing, so simply delete it. If it is required, but presently the service request what you have received that is high priority than what the existing one, then temporarily you can migrate these context instances in other fog nodes. So there where you required a context migration. So if the predicted time is greater than that, the delay with the amount of delay that the service can tolerate is greater than the prediction time, If yes, then what you do, right? We'll go to our previous approach, that is SCH model, right? With a context migration and context sharing, right? If no, means the delay which you have calculated for this context sharing and context migration, this service request cannot tolerate that, then simply you go for service migration, right? You simply migrate this service to other fog nodes, right? No, right? In certain cases, you will not get some nearby fog nodes to migrate this service. So definitely that is a violation of SLA, service level agreement, and the quality of service will decrease. For that means there are certain cases, few cases where some service requests are violated. And if there's QA service level agreement, or what you called as quality of service is violated, means reduced. Now, so now we'll move to, this is left side, I mean right hand side you have discussed. Now we'll move to left hand side. And the left hand side, right? If the service request can tolerate some delay, right? Some delay. It may be a medium one, or it's a, I mean, highly, the right hand side which indicates that it's a highly critical, right? If it is a medium, or means which can tolerate some amount of delay, or the low one which can tolerate more amount of delay. In those cases, what you are doing, simply you are adding the service request to a list. That is service request queue. Then prepare a free resources list. Then you are preparing a free resource list. Then you are applying a GA here. Right, GA based VM. This one. Now what you are doing, all the service requests you are taking in a list. Then you are preparing a free resources in a list, right? Then you are trying to generate the populations, right? Once you generate the population, then you are calculating the effective the fitness value of this population. Means the overall completion time, right? Then you do some you go for this crossover, then mutations, right? And repeat the process, right? In repeating that, right? Once the fitness value comes to a point where it cannot change, then that will take as an optimal schedule. So that then you will schedule these algorithm, then you schedule these service requests to the resources. Then once it is scheduled, then it comes to this reinforcement learning, right? Now, what is this reinforcement learning, right? Now here you are trying to calculate that how much time a fog node, right, will go for a duty cycling. Means we need to calculate the duty cycling period. As I said, this what you have discussed. This you have discussed the virtual VM management, right, and service request scheduling. But the next part is called your reinforcement learning. Now, why you are applying the reinforcement learning? See, initially the simulation starts with a duty cycling period of some delta t. Now, what is the delta t? It's a certain amount of time, right? That certain amount of time, the fog node will be active, and after that certain amount of time, fog node is deactive, right? And then you will go for sleep mode to reduce the energy consumption, right? But this delta t is an optimal value? No. So for that, you are trying to optimize that one, right? So you are using you are not using any complex machine learning algorithm, just you have used a reinforcement algorithm, right? What is this reinforcement learning? Just you are taking a X amount of time, right? If you see that in X amount of time, right? In that X amount of time, if the quality of the service is degraded, then we increase the amount. We increase the time period. While increasing, then next, increase by something t or delta t something. Then after increasing, the simulation is go on repeating, right? Then after increasing, you will see that again it is decreasing the QS, then again it will increase. Means there is something called as penalty and reward, right? If QS decreases, right, you are increasing the time period, means you are adding the penalties. If QS is maintained, or before the before the deadline, if you are able to complete the schedule, then you are reducing that. That is the reward. So deducting the time period is a reward, and adding the time period is a penalty. So this is what the approach you have followed to come to an optimal value of T. Yeah. So let me discuss this energy consumption model in detail, right? Equation wise. If a service request required m number of contest instances to process, and delta T is the time period required to process a single contest instance at a fog node Fi with a virtual machine with X vCPU computation and Y GIB of memory, then the total time required to process the service request with m number of contest instances. So that we are calculating T of Fi equal to delta T into m by this one. Then the number of service, the number of processes, the time required to process the number of service requests with m number of contest instances, that is multiply with summation of p equal to 1 to capital P, that is the total number of service requests. Then to minimize the overall energy consumption of a fog node, so you are multiplying with E of Fi. That is what is this? This is the energy factor, right? We'll discuss how you are calculating the energy factor. Then objective of this is one fog node, but our objective is to minimize the overall energy consumption of all the fog nodes. So that is the summation of that is I equal to 1 to n, where n is the number of fog nodes. So this is what the fitness value you are using to calculate this one. Then fog node energy consumption, as I said, based on the 4 parameters. So one is data transmission, then data receipt, duration of computations, and ideal time during the ideal time also. So here you are taking this E of Fi equal to ETX, that is energy consumption during transmission, energy ERT, that is energy consumption during receipt, and E computation, that is energy consumption during computations, plus energy consumption during ideal, plus E lambda, that is amount of energy consumed for one cycle of duty cycling. Then E sleep, the amount of time required to go for a sleep mode to active and deactive, right, a node which also consumes some amount of time, some amount of energy. Then how you are calculating ETX, that is the number of TX, the number of transmission, into E amount, that is energy, the amount of energy required for one transmission of fixed data. Then S level, that is the security level. So all these fog nodes, just a minute, all these fog nodes discovered. Yeah. So all these fog nodes are transmitting and receiving data using some security layer, security level, and energy consumption is based on that, right? Energy consumption also depends upon the security levels, right? Then E computation, how you are calculating here? This is E computation, that is NC into E F type plus T amount, where NC is the number of contest instances, and EF is the amount of energy consumed for a particular application type contest processing, and TAMT is the amount of time period required to complete the process. So similarly, E lambda you are calculating, that is n cycles into E broadcast plus n cycles into E this one. So I'm not going to do details here. This is how you are calculating the energy of a service request, then energy of a fog node, then overall entire energy of the entire network architecture. Then these are the contributions already you have discussed. That let me skip. Then the solution approach, GA-based VM management. You have used for scheduling the incoming request, and RL is used for optimizing the duty cycling time period. Now let me introduce the notations and all how we are using that. We consider N is the number of fog nodes you have discussed, that one, and that I said you are using the random. Then total number of virtual machines that you are creating within a fog node, that is also random, but within a range. Then each fog node has a different Cmax value within the range. Then each VM of a fog node has a different computation capability, that comp ij, that is also you are generating randomly, right? Similarly, the buffer, that TKM and network bandwidth, also you are generating that TKM ij, that is buffer size. Then network bandwidth, you are taking, I mean, you are generating as a random within the range. Then smart city applications that resides in a fog node. As I said, all smart city applications are not reside in all fog nodes. A certain number of smart city applications are reside in a fog node. So that you are denoting as app IK, that indicates I is the fog node and K is the applications. And delta time is the interval time. And C and IK, that is where N denotes the number of context instances are stored at fog node and of K type applications, right? So these are the set of notations, additional set of notations that you are using: X, B, CPU, Y, GIB, that CIM, all this, right? Now, so let me explain this GA-based VM management algorithm, right? So initially, at each interval of time t, it collects the neighbor information. Then each fog node, that neighbor information is collected, and each fog nodes. Then each virtual machine VMJ fog node app, what it will do? If the fog node is not active, then it will put in the list. The objective of this line is to, whatever the fog nodes are ideal, right? I mean, fog node virtual machines are ideal. You put it in a list, right? Then after each time period T, the service request collections and collected at each fog nodes. Then SRJ means service request, that service request J DT, that is the delay time, is equal to 0. Delay tolerant, DT is the delay tolerant, is 0, means it cannot tolerate any 0. Then we check for the availability of context instances. If are available, then immediately schedule it, right? The way, I mean, the algorithm, I mean, the flowchart you have discussed, that is the same thing is written in this form with the all notations, right? Else, if it is not, if the required context instances are not available, then we are predicting the time period that required for a context sharing and context migration. If it is greater than that, if the service request can tolerate that time period, then SCS, context migration, is called. Means our previous model first algorithm is called for that one. Else, if it is not, then the service migration. Directly we migrate the service request to some other fog nodes, if possible. If not possible, then it will continue as it is, but it will degrade your QS, right? Else means if it is not 0, means if it is delay tolerant one, then simply that will be added to a service request queue, right? the right hand side part. Then here, one by one, your service request which have the delay tolerant, right? They can add it to a list. Now after that, this is what the section of GA. What you are doing, you are initializing the populations. That is, you are creating a generating and initializing the populations, right? Then you have a selection, right? You are selecting the best. Means in the simulated model, what you have done, you have generated 100 populations, and out of that, you have taken 20 best populations, right? Then you do a crossover. How you are taking the how you are selecting the best chromosomes out of the entire population based on the energy, the fitness value, right? Then you are applying a crossover of those selected 20 populations. I mean, selected 20 chromosomes, right? And you are generating the more crossover then with the mutations, and this process will repeat, right? Once it is optimized, I mean, it comes to a optimal state, then we schedule them then. And this is what the RL approach. This is what the RL approach that we have discussed here. So, as I said, there is something called as penalty and reward, right? The environment. Once just a minute. Yeah. So this is a this environment indicates that there are two states are there. There is one thing called as penalty and reward. Now, as I said, the penalty and reward is based on the previous, previous schedule results, right? If the QS is degraded, then there will be a penalty, that is addition of time, that is time period is improved or increased. And if the QS is maintained or before the deadline is the schedule is completed, then the reward will get, reward means the time period is reduced, right? So that is the duty cycling optimizer. Now what initially you initialize that is E previous, that E current. Now whatever the current value that, sorry, whatever the current value that you are initialized set as a previous value, then this is R of Ft, the summation of T equal 1 to M, that is the period time. Then SR previous equal to SR current, means the current values are initializing as a previous value, because we are going to calculate the current value. Now then we will calculate the current, E current, right? That is total of E Fi from equation 10. Just as I said, the equation 10 is calculate the total energy of the fog nodes, all fog nodes. Then you evaluate that one, and we repeat that process, right? Then let me discuss about this simulation setup, right? So the proposed optimal virtual management model is simulated using this iFogSim, right? The previous one which we have simulated, the first model we have simulated with the CloudSim, right? Obviously, you have started with this network simulator, that NS3, but a lot of parameters are missing in the, as per our models, we are unable to incorporate all the parameters. So we thought to switch to this CloudSim. So you have implemented this again, that same thing in the CloudSim. Then the second also you have implemented in the CloudSim, but the third one, this energy optimized model, you have implemented the iFog simulators, right? Now it's not so easy to switch from one platform to another platform, because that is a cloud SIM and this is a iFog SIM. But for your information, let me say that this whatever the libraries that support the cloud SIM, the same libraries are supported in the iFog SIM also, because both are the products of Cloud Lab. So almost means whatever the model you have implemented, the same thing you have migrated to iFog SIM, because whatever the methods, whatever the libraries that you have used, everything that supports whatever there in the Cloud SIM, everything supports in the iFog SIM also. So if you have something implemented in Cloud SIM, easily you can switch to migrate to iFog SIM, right? Because all the methods, the factory, that is the Cloud SIM factory, that is grid bus, right? The Cloud bus and grid bus, all the factories, whatever defined, everything is the root of this cloud only. And the Cloud SIM only. So all the whatever you have implemented, everything simply you have migrated that to Cloud SIM, right? That additional things you have to additional things you have to write there. So whatever the model you have designed, so you have not modified that, the code you have not modified, right? So that is the reason why you have switched to iFog SIM. In addition, it also provides some various scheduling algorithms, inbuilt scheduling algorithms. Obviously, you have started with some inbuilt scheduling algorithm to check our models, right? Then you have changed our scheduling algorithm as GA, and the allocation and migration policies. It also provides a lot of allocation and migration policies. Apart from that, even the energy efficient allocation policies also available in the Cloud SIM as well as in the grid SIM. In the iFog simulator. The network topology, the fog network simulation environment is developed by using the fog nodes set, the last network architecture what you have discussed. Then for data traffic, the random functions within the range of 10 to 50% of CMEX size is used to generate the data traffic at different fog nodes. Then the terminal nodes what you have for simulating the entire architecture, you have varied the scenario, right? That is the number of fog nodes are changed or varied between 10 to 100, right? Similarly, the fog node capacity or CMEX capacity also. And regarding these applications, right? Regarding this application, the number of applications are used as 20, right? Previously, in the previous case, you have used 13 number of applications, but here we changed the number of applications, right? Smart city applications, and generation of approach means for each and every fog node, the approach is random, that is 8 to 10, right? And this is what the fitness analysis of VM management parameters, right? So now here in the first case, the generation fitness scaling is the best one is 378.1, and the mean value is 389. So this is what the fitness value of that VM management GA approach, right? This is the fitness value of different you can easily identify here. The parameters are changed here. Let me switch to the paper so that I can easily show you. Yeah. The number of variables here, 2, the current best individual, this one, this is fitness of each individuals, right? And then this is the performance means you have compared that this model, the energy efficient model, with our uh, uh, previous models, right? That is your SCS algorithm, and then the greedy approach. What you have, because while implementing the first model, right, you don't have any similar kind of models to compare with, so you have taken a greedy approach. So initially you have compared with greedy, compared the greedy approach with SCS, right? Then BMM, that is what is virtual management model, that is virtual machine management model, that compared with this one. Then you have compared with the then you have framed a what do you call this hybrid model, that BMM with SCS, that one. So just to try to see that how these models are performed in a simulated environment. Obviously, when it comes to real environment or test bed model, definitely there will be a gap, right? There will be variation in that models. But in case of simulated models, right? Now here, the CMAX value you have varied from 8,000 to 500. So as this CMAX value of starting from 8,000, right? And all these models, means here you have, all the results, whatever you have received from the simulation, you have normalized. You are normalized. Means you have taken a multiple times you have run the same simulators, then you have taken a normalized value. And there are some abnormal cases where the completion delay time is some abnormal values, and those you have excluded, those you have removed, eliminated from that. So when it is 8,000, so the completion time is all, very close. Almost all applications completion time is very close, right? Only the greedy application, little bit higher than all. Then when it comes to 7,500, like this way. So when you are decreasing the CMAX size, because all depends upon the CMAX, right? Once you decrease the CMAX value, then these models, this shows the difference in their efficacy, right? And this at the end we found that the BMM with SCS algorithm that outperforms than all these other models, right? Then this is depicts the performance difference between the different approaches with violation in CMAX. Means the as I said, in these models, right? In these models, when you are unable to, or when you are facing some kind of exceptions, like if the service request is a critical one, right? Is a critical one, right? Which won't tolerate any delay at all. But during that time, if the received fog node is, fog node computations are not available, or the contest instances are not available, required information is not available, then it is very difficult to process immediately. Because first of all, you have to check whether the computations are available or not. Then you have to check if the computation is available, then you have to check whether the contest instances are available or not. If contest instances are not available, then you have to check whether you can go for a contest sharing with migration or without migration, depending upon the delay that it can sustain, right? Then, worst case, if you won't sustain all these, whatever you are predicting, right, then we are trying to migrate these ones to a suitable fog node. Again, suitable fog node, if in that scenario, if a nearby, within the sensing range, there is no suitable fog node, right? Suitable fog node, again, So in the algorithm, you have not written everything, but the meaning of suitable fog node is within the sensing range, or what you called as within the uh, neighbor list. It will check that the which fog node is a free resource. I mean, computation is free, as well as the required context instances are available. Because only the computation is free. If you migrate the service request to that one, right, then the context instance are not available. In that case, again, it will go for the same, I mean, contest sharing model. I mean, contest sharing approach, and that will incur some delay, right? So probably in that case, right, it will find that. Let me take a scenario here, right? For example, a delay critical service request arrives to a fog node A. And after all checking up, first it will check the resources, whether the computational resources are available or not. If it is not available, then it will check. If it is not available, then directly will come to the service migration. Assume that computational resources are available, then the contest instances are available or not. If the contest instances are not available, then it will predict. Means you are not going for a complicated predict. You are maintaining a table, right? From that you are taking the predicted value. So then you are predicting the how much time it will require to get these type of contest instances. Then we are checking that whether the delay tolerable amount, I mean the amount of delay that can tolerate the application or the service request is greater than this SCS, I mean this contest sharing predicted value or not. If it is, then you are going for it. Means you are going for the contest sharing, then you are processing that one. If not, then you are trying to go for a service migration. Assume that you will go for a service migration, right? Now, once you will go for a service migration, what you are doing that in service migration, right? You have checked initially you have prepared something, some here. I'll come back to that. Sorry. Yeah, initially here you are calculating a list. Here you are calculating a list, right? And here you are calculating the neighbor list information. So in the neighbor list information, not only you are keeping the neighbor node information, as well as the status of those VMs also, right? At regular interval of time, that will be updated. Now we'll check that which out of this neighbor list, which is a suitable fog node to process this request, right? So we'll try to find out a suitable fog node. As I said, what do you mean by suitable fog node? Suitable fog node means that fog node has the virtual machines, right, with required computation, and the fog node has contest instances of required type, right? Then we'll immediately migrate this one to that particular fog node. If such scenarios are not there, then you will see that whether the computation is available or not. If the computation is available, and in fog node A is also computation available, then we will say that we'll check that how many contest instances are available in fog node A and the fog node B, which you are trying to migrate. In that case, we'll see that if some contest instances are available at this, but there is no contest instance available in B, then it's waste of time to migrate that one. Because once you migrate that, then again it will do the same thing, right? And initially we saw that instead of checking this particular part, initially when you saw that, right, what you have done, simply you have migrated that. When you have migrated that one to B fog node, then at B fog node, again it will check all these parameters. Then again it will migrate to C fog nodes. So at the end, this part we have not included in this scenario, I mean this model, but what you find that the improper migration, right, leads to a QoS degradation. Improper migration leads to a QoS degradation, right? And we are working on this particular one, right? Now, how to reduce the improper migrations, right? Because if I simply migrate to another fog node, right, without checking all the other parameters which are required for this, then that fog node will do the same thing. Again, it will migrate to someone else. So while migrating from, migrating from one fog node to other to other like this way, then the delay, these migrations, service migrations, okay, there are a lot of references says that live migrations or live migration within fog node, it will take very less time, but very less time is also, there is a time required to migrate all this checking and migration, and that less time is also, right, is a delay. And there are some critical applications which cannot tolerate any delay, right? So what we are trying to explain, these frequent migrations, why this frequent migration happens? Because of finding unable to find a suitable fog node in the neighbor list, right? So we are working on that particular right now, that how can we check, we can find a suitable fog node for migration, so that it will not increase the number of migrations. It will not lead to further migrations. That's what we are working now, right? So, sorry. Yeah. So you're at this stage. So this service, you can see this percentage of SLA violations, the service level agreement. Now, what is this service level agreement mean? When a service request is generated, because this is not test bed, so service request that we are not getting from users, so you are generating this service request. The service request contains all this information, that how much, what is the time period within that this service has to complete its service, its processing, right? So if this model fails to complete the entire thing or entire processing within the provided delay, then it is what you called as SLA violations, right? Now, in an example, right, I can cite an example here that there are some cloud providers, right? If you are a premier customer, of any provider, then there will be an agreement, right? So if you are a premier customer of reserve type, or what you have called as spot instance type, right? These are all different instances of different cloud providers. There will be agreement, and if the providers fail to satisfy this agreement as per this service level agreement, then as a penalty, the service provider will pay to the customer, right? So that is there are number of examples are there, real life examples are there, where this service providers had paid huge amount to the customers, right? So I'm sorry, I have not remembered those, but those are there in some point, right? You will get it. You can, if you can search, then you will get it those, right? So in order to minimize this service level agreements, there are a lot of algorithms, a lot of models are proposed, right, in this cloud level, and you will also looking for such kind of approaches or algorithm which minimize this SLA violations, right? And mostly, if you can see, right, almost all here, almost all models, this greedy, SCS, DMM algorithm, and BMF with SCS algorithm, almost all behave in the same way, right, up to 2000 or 3000 CMAX value, right? When the CMAX value is reduced less than the 3000, then other models, I will not say that this VMM with CSS will outperform, right? It will not outperform, but the other models is showing the worst case. Means the service violation is increasing in other models, right, as compared to this one. But still, you can say still you are lacking in this particular point, right? In this particular point. So that is what we are trying to show you, that there are certain cases where the QoS is degraded or the SLA is violated, right? Then the next one, the performance of this service migration and energy consumption, right? So this is service migration percentage over the varying CMAX. Now, try to understand this one. SLA violation, right, is due to the improper service migration, right? Mostly improper due to service migration, because once you migrate your service to other fog nodes, there is 90% of chances that migrated fog node, I mean the fog node which received the service request, will do the same thing, right? Because what you are doing without proper information or without proper checking, you are migrating, right? Something like this. If somebody will ask you a question in something like NLP, I don't know anything NLP, right? So what I'll do, I'll simply migrate to my neighbor, right? Without saying that whether the neighbor has capable to answer that particular one or not, right? Just I will see that, oh, he knows that NLP, so let me forward this one, right? So in such cases, right, this further migrations is improving. What you call is repeated migrations. So this is here in this model, you can see that the percentage of service migrations, this is the percentage, right? In case of 8,000, the service migrations are within 2 or 3, 4 like this, right? This is what the somehow another is here, somehow that is missing. While taking this from the figure, one is missing. That is this is SCS algorithm, VMM algorithm, VMM with this one. Another one is this one, that is greedy one, right? So the last one is greedy. This one, it's missing here. Somehow it's cuts, I think. So the greedy, right, in most cases, because you have not applied any intelligence or any smart way of scheduling this one. So in the percentage of scheduling, the percent of service migrations are more in that case. But in case of this VMM with SCS also, you can see in 500, then more number, there are a lot of migrations are there, right? So here you have taken only a single migration case, right? Repeated migration case you have not taken. If you take it for a single service repeated migration, I think it is much more than the 15% or 16%, right? Then you have this is what you call as the energy consumptions, right? So as per the equation 10, right? Equation 10, and you are calculating this one. Now, in the only the greedy approach which shows the worst, but rest of ours behaves in a similar fashion, right? Only the GA, that last, which is GA is applied, right? Because you are trying to schedule it's trying to schedule a service request to its best VM, best available VM, right? So that is the reason why the best available VM. See, for example, if I have 10 service requests and 10 VMs, right? If I'll schedule as they arrive there, if I'll schedule, then the high computation request service request may go to a VM which has low computations. In that case, the overall time the overall completion time will increase. So that is the reason why in this case we are trying to reduce the overall completion time, and which reduces the energy consumption with a duty cycling approach, right? So let me conclude this one. So the proposed VM management model combines the features of SCS algorithm and GA optimization approach, utilizing the fog node resources like computation, memory, and network bandwidth optimally. And the performance of the proposed approach is compared with the existing SCS and other, right? with a matrix like namely number of migrations and energy utilizations. And it is observed that the proposed hybrid, the CSA-GA techniques outperforms the existing SCS techniques by reducing the overall completion time and QS violation by assigning the service request to the best available VM within the fog node. And in addition, this is just an addition one, just as a tag. In addition, RL-based duty cycling slot prediction approach is also effectively reduces the energy consumption of fog nodes. These are some selective references what I cited in PPT, right? And these are the set of resources, references that you have used. So, what is the time now? Yeah, so just a minute. Yeah, so you have discussed the model, the first, second, the energy efficient model in details, but the first model, second model, the service minimization model you have discussed very quickly. So still, if anyone has any questions, then happily we'll discuss those, or I'll happily answer those questions. Yeah, am I audible or no?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Yeah. Still around 20 minutes are left, I think so. If no questions, then let me discuss the detailed implementation model of the second energy efficient, delay minimization model. Right. I thought that it's difficult to complete the two models within the slot, so I quickly finished that one. Required, then I can repeat this particular model in details.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, excuse me, sir. It's Professor Lalit here.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So today they have to take test.
Okay.
So we want to free them. So if they are not asking questions, let us give them an advantage.
Okay.
So that they can have a rest and prepare for the test. So I'm very happy to see you, Dr. Diptendu.
Oh yeah, I was there also.
How is your health?
Yeah, I'm much better, much better.
So please take care. Huh?
Yeah. Thank you. I think we can stop, sir. I mean,
yeah, we can. They have to take test and
back-to-back lectures attending for the faculties. Had we been there, it would have been very difficult for us to. So it's okay. It's just 20 minutes, so that's fine.
No, initially I predicted that.
Yes, sir, continue.
No. Sir, initially I thought that the two models will take a lot of time. I mean, the third model will take a lot of time.
That's fine.
Yeah, that is right.
Speed up the first one.
No, that is perfectly okay. No problem. I think, yeah, we should conclude. So there are no questions. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yes, we should conclude.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us today, sir, and for sharing your knowledge and experience on energy consumption in this IoT-enabled smart city applications. Thank you, sir. I hope definitely this will be help us in our future research work. Thank you, sir.
Sir, I would like to request the participants, if they, I mean, anyone is interested in working in this model, right, in this area, they can work with, they can communicate us so that collaboratively
You can just
work.
Drop your email ID, sir, in the chat box so everybody can see.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can do, I mean, any other extensions or any ideas. So we can jointly do that. We are in short of manpower. So we'll be glad to collaborate. Actually, that is the mandate which Atal starts with. So it is ideally for spawning of research. So we talk to experts. Practically speaking, we have worked on this for months together. So actually years together for combined.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is what I was talking in the morning to a participant also.
Yeah.
That Atal has provided us the opportunity to meet the scholars. Those who are meet each other, share ideas with each other and with the resource persons as well. So it is in fact a platform.
Yeah, so actually for months together, whatever we understood and all, if in 120 minutes, I mean, how can we convey it? Even if you convey, there will be losses in the channel, channel loss. So the idea is that on a long-term basis, if we can somehow or the other keep in touch and I mean to spawn off research. So that is the main goal from the Atal's perspective also. So that is the we come together, breaking barriers. Otherwise, in a physical meeting, this would have not been possible at all. So we are glad to share whatever we have done, spent so much of time. So if you feel inspired and if you want to do something like that, any ideas for discussions, we are always open to it.
Right, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Jasmeer, please thank them.
Yeah, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Diptendu and Dr. Hemant Kumar. Thank you on behalf of the department. I thank both of you once again for joining us for this event. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
It was my pleasure as well, sir. Thank you so much.
Sir.
Take your leave, sir. Bye-bye then. See you very soon sometime.